current age, to the current people, the current society. Not only that, for the next several hundred years to come, till the world again seeks someone to reinterpret the old Narthan ideas in a language understandable and practical for the society which would then exist. But as of date, so in that sense I would say, should we call him as a link between ancient India and the modern India, or should we call it slightly differently? Would you say Purana be Nava, ancient and also new, does it mean a link? Perhaps you can say that it was a person who integrated, he brought about a wonderful transformation of the age-old ideas, ancient ideas. They were not just, he was not only just continuing, he gave them a new interpretation, a new meaning, a new drift, whereby these sounded very realistic, very practicable. Supposing, if you, honestly I'm saying, if you leave Swamiji, if you just go to scriptures, if you just read the Upanishads, we will feel completely bewildered. In fact, that was one of the reasons that was slowly aging the India. Not that it was completely bereft of people who were taking to religion. Yes, people were religious, maybe in a dwindling percentage, in a declining number, but still there were a lot of people who were religious. But the disconnect between those ancient ideas, the Upanishads again and again they talk about the highest reality of Brahman. Again and again in the interpretations of the Acharyas, you get the idea that they are away from this world. They have nothing to do with this existential world. The world is to be rejected as Maya or Vidya. Where does the man, where does the common man, where does the modern man go? That is why people used to read scriptures, keep them in the stack, and then follow their own way of life. There is a total disconnect. In that sense, it was an extraordinary bridge between the ancient and modern, because he said, don't keep your books lying there, bring them to the level of practice. Now, we will deal about this idea a little more elaborately in the time that is given to me. I should really not exceed the time. Now, there are several dimensions, in several ways you can present. Two other ideas briefly I will touch upon. Now, the ancient idea, the three main schools, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Dvaita, are speaking about the ideas of truth, at the same time, each seemingly opposing the other views, each seemingly apart from the other. So, again, the society would be divided into fragments. Followers of this, followers of that. One quarreling with the other, one totally differing with the other, one talking about the absolute in particular term, someone, the Advaitis, saying oneness, complete oneness, consciousness, negating everything else. They will start by this saying that Jeev, Jagat, Ishvara are together part of the Supreme Brahman. And the Advaitis saying that there is a complete difference between Ishvara and the Manushya, the man. There is a total difference. There is a superior, there is an inferior. So where do you bring it? So Swamiji gave a very unique idea. He said man progresses from the lowest to the highest truth. There is nothing like untruth. If you ask a strong Vishishtadvaita, you will say Advaita is untrue. Say Dvaita is untrue. But Swamiji said all the three, man progresses from a lowest to the highest truth. There is no disharmony, only the stages of evolution. Thereby, he gave a complete new interpretation. That is how he linked the ancient with the modern. He said, he gave an example. If you take the photograph of the sun from different places, as you go nearer, you get a different picture. When you far away, you get a different picture. Each picture is true of the sun because it is taken from a particular distance. There is nothing like any particular picture is to be rejected or so on. So, each picture gives one idea, one representation of the ultimate truth. But all the pictures are to be taken together. They are to be understood that they represent the different stages of evolution of the photographer. The person is going nearer. When he goes nearer, he gets a different picture. So what a wonderful idea. Even regarding another very controversial concept, this idea of Maya. Abhinda says, Maya is something universal, something which cannot be explained. In fact, this is one of the basic weaknesses of the philosophy itself. They are unable to explain this position opponent asks, you say there is only one unitary consciousness. What is the locus of avidya? Whether it is Brahman or it is outside. If you say it is Brahman, Brahman is limited because it is limited by Maya. If you say it is outside Brahman, then there is duality. There is Brahman, there is also Maya. So they were not in that limitation. Then they put it as Anirvachaniya, then it cannot be explained. So all schools are really struggling with this concept. Swamiji gave a new idea. He said Maya is a statement of fact. Don't try to interpret it in a particular way. Accept its prevalence, that it is deluding. It's really giving you a wrong picture. So he said the idea is to really go to the source, find out their true nature, work about it. See, you give a very fine example. Supposing you are in delirium. Like a person who is in a delirium, a person who is in a state of bondage, if you ask how I got into this state of bondage, it is not possible to explain to that person. Because you are having such a high fever, you are in a delirium. But once you are cured, you do not ask how I am going to get, how I got the fever, because you are cured of it. In the same way, he said, accept Maya as a statement of fact. It exists, we find its prevalence, we find its influence, we find it completely dominating us. But then there is a way to go beyond Maya, then Maya becomes irrelevant. So these are some of his extraordinary contributions. But of course, I would say, the greatest, perhaps, wonderful contribution is the idea of karma. How karma can become a source, a method of sadhana. As you said, again and again, although he was equally fond of all the philosophies and he would always say that they are evolutions, in many of his talks you get more and more adrift with the idea that he was strongly advocating Advaita. The Advaita philosophy was what you find more shown in his lectures and other messages. But the ancient idea of Advaita was, karma was of the nature of bondage. Unless there is karmanyas, unless you give up karma completely, it's not possible to realize the highest truth, namely Brahman, realizing the highest absolute. Since Swamiji said that, if that were so, remember what will happen to all of us. All the entire humanity is completely involved in such intense activities all their life. Now why? Because the ancient idea of Advaita, the ideas in knowledge, again they were very much bothered about this Adhikari Veda. Only a very few, very select handful, chosen, supremely qualified aspirants were allowed, thought to be fit for the highest knowledge. So that is why they could go and take such a strong position and say that unless you completely negate or you completely give up work, it is not possible for you to reach the highest level of knowledge or the highest kind of realization. So, but then Swamiji, he was not compromising on the highest idea. He said, yes, the highest idea of consciousness, highest idea of oneness, supreme oneness, realizing that as being part of that, complete oneness in the entire existence, humanity, everywhere, wherever, there is nothing but unitary consciousness. That idea, he was very much rooted in that. But same time he said, the entire existential world, how can that be given a new drift, a new approach? In fact, at some point of time, this is also in link with the ancient idea because, according to the Shankara's idea of Vedanta, Shankara also did not say that one can completely bypass and give up work. He said you work. You work always with the idea that it will give you Chitta Shuddhi, then you give up the work, then you get that Mahavakya or you learn about the highest knowledge of Brahman and then that knowledge dawns in you. But Swamiji did not talk about an intermediary level. But he said if you become absolutely pure through karma, if your Chitta becomes completely pure, what else is left? Why do you worry about what is going to happen at that point of time? Let us work for the highest purification, for the highest preparedness for the reception of the highest knowledge, then the rest is automatically taken care of. That is why he lays so much emphasis on work. Not only that, in one speech, he virtually removed the Adhikari Veda, saying that anyone can practice his highest knowledge. He says it's a shoe shiner, a man who polishes the shoe. If he has this idea of the understanding of the awareness which is highest knowledge in him, he will shine the shoes in a wonderful way. What a glorious idea. So everywhere, again and again, he said that there is no kind of a distinction between sacred and secular, because everything will become completely sacred. There's nothing like secular. That's why Sister Dimitra wrote in introduction to the complete process, Swamiji, henceforth no more distinction between the sacred and the secular. To labor is to pray, and so many other words he has given there. The idea is that if every act of one, whatever we do, it is an attempt at being sacred, an attempt at reaching the highest. However humble or simple or rudimentary or fundamental may be, that is capable of slowly lifting you to higher and higher. This links with Swamiji's idea that we are evolving from the lowest to the highest to, that gives a huge framework. That gives the framework for the entire humanity, for the entire mankind to practice this idea of Advaita. One need not feel that he is a student, that he is in the college, he is studying, he is working, he is a housewife, he is a householder, he is working in the government, he is a businessman. Everybody says, accept this idea, accept this fundamental idea, this highest truth, and try to work from where you are, because you are always remember that you are never in a state of falsehood. You are always in a state of truth. In a lower truth, as you work harder, as you go forward in your approach, you become better and better, you become more and more evolved, and you ultimately you reach the highest level of knowledge, the highest level of consciousness. That is why he said, anybody knows that now the Vedanta arise from the cottages of the peasants, and so on. So many ways he says, it's not necessary. So he was always for that kind of a universality of Vedanta. Not only that, not someone who talked about his global aspect. His idea was to take this across the entire mankind, the jnana for the whole mankind, that everyone is to follow Vedanta in a sense. So he gave a complete new drift, new idea, the idea of work itself. So Amarpurno, a scholar, wrote a great book, a very big book about 225 pages, where he said that Swami Vivekananda's Advaita is completely different from Shankara's Advaita. Perhaps that person hasn't understood it correctly, but there is certainly a difference between the Ramakrishna Vivekananda approach to Advaita and probably the so-called old and the ancient approach, because that is where Swamiji has changed. The ancient approach was, they said, it's only knowledge, where it is like removing the dust from a mirror. Supposing a mirror is covered with dust, you remove it. By removing the dust, you are not adding anything, you are not putting anything new there. Then the mirror shines. In the same way, the idea of Maya, the idea of ignorance that has covered us, it covered the soul, covered the Jivatma. Once it is removed, then the Atman shines in its own glory. So you don't get anything, you don't add anything, you don't increase it when you say you get Brahmajnana or the knowledge of the highest. It's only the idea that you remove the ignorance, and that is it. That is why, in traditional schools, they don't even advise any kind of practice. They say it's only vichara, the idea again and again and again. But Swamiji saw that this was really not taking people anywhere. People used to talk about the highest Advaita, but practice in a very, very, very abominable fashion. Krishna also saw how somebody had come to the Dakshineshwar. This person was talking from the Jagat Jeet Kaal nahi hai. The word does not exist in these 3 periods. But then he was not living a very pure life. He said, split upon your Vedanta. What is that? That is why, the Ramakrishna Vivekananda tradition, obviously Vivekananda is also a large role to play that. The link they thought about between the ancient and the modern. That way, the ancient philosophy was put more in terms of practice. They were perhaps the first in the Hindu tradition to bring the idea, religion is realization, it is practice, it is anubhuti, not just mere philosophy, not just intellectual understanding. If you put it only to knowledge thereby understanding, does it mean only those who are able to read and write, they all will get it? How could then Adbhutananda, who was an unlettered person, an illiterate person, how he could get the highest idea of knowledge? That is why, Swamiji is not just a link. A person who took the ancient ideas and expanded them beyond recognition, made them universal, made them all-encompassing, so that the entire humanity is covered with this idea that all that exists in this world is only that supreme truth is now to be the from that idea, he really brought it into practice. Everywhere people can have the understanding that they are the supreme truth. Maybe the awareness is not there. They have to go from lowest step to higher step and realize the highest idea. So he gave a new approach, new trip to work. That is why, all of us find it so meaningful. Whether you work in a house or in ashram, people come to our ashram and ask me, Swamiji, you are more busy than any CEO in a multinational. Yes, I am busy, but you asked me today I will leave and I will not even look at this ashram. Can you do it? So, there is a secret, there is a way of working. So, Swamiji did not say that work will be binding by itself. The attitude behind it, how you do it, that is so important. That can be really liberating. That can take you to the highest, slowly to the highest idea of awareness of the individual consciousness. That is why he gave a tremendous emphasis to work, because he saw that people are only talking about giving up work, but they were indulging in such practices that taking them away from the highest truth. On the other hand, if you give a new depth, a new approach to work itself, work can become so edifying. Not only that, he was not only a modern man, he was an extremely practical person. He saw that only those who have accepted the highest idea of truth as very essential, very valid, the very foundation for one's life, they alone can work for the benefit of others. So, supposing you have the highest idea, the highest consciousness in you, obviously you can work with the higher understanding. Supposing even intellectually, you accept the idea that you have the supreme consciousness, the moment you do that, immediately you accept the idea, everyone else with whom you come into contact, they are also like that. They are also you. You should not say, I am divine and you are devil. So when that understanding is there, you are dealing with others, you are dealing with people, your superiors, your inferiors, your subordinates, your students, your teachers, your wives, your husbands, your friends, your swamis, everywhere in the world. If in a small way we can retain this awareness, what happens? All the work that we do will be only elevating. That will only take us nearer and nearer to the highest idea of the realization of the absolute. Because the moment any negative idea comes, the moment any limiting idea comes, whenever there is any jealousy, hatred, or competition, anything that is of that nature arises, immediately the mind has to connect to the idea. Yes, if we say that we are the supreme consciousness, we are that all-pervasive truth, we are that, where is the question of difference in the other question? Where is the question of competition? So, your seva, your work, your service, assumes a totally new dimension. That is what Ramakrishna taught Swamiji very briefly. Swamiji developed a wonderful philosophy of life, the Shiva Jnana Jeev Seva. So, looking upon man as God and serving, how is it possible? Can you look upon man if you say he is a wicked person, he is a useless person, he is a characterless person? Can you serve him that way? How the service is possible? Thakur showed him, Krishna showed him the way. Look upon man as God and serve. But what is the philosophy behind that? Philosophy is idea. Idea, on one hand, the